Hi, this is Sherri with BOCTV and Richard Reed, one of our very special members from Transworld. And Richard's been with us for quite some time now and is very faithful, and I highly recommend his services. So that's what we're here to talk about with Business Over Coffee. You can find us on businessovercoffee.biz, but right now we're going to talk about Transworld Business Advisors.
Okay. Transworld Business Advisors, we basically have three things that we do primarily. The first one is we list and sell businesses, existing businesses. If the owner wants to retire or wants to move on to other business, we do that. Second thing that we do is we do franchise sales. We represent, and that varies from time to time because we're always picking up new ones, but we represent over 140 franchises that we can help somebody that wants to start in business to get started.
That's the one I find really interesting.
Yes, it is. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And there's good reason for that. If somebody's starting a business, especially if they've never owned a business before, the odds of success in the first 5 years, for example, are extremely low if you're starting up a new business without support.
Right, right.
The franchise, you have support of the franchisor.
Yes.
And so that gives you, the odds of success are extremely better.
Sure,
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
Right, it does, yeah.
And then they've got you to help them with
Right,
that as
exactly.
well as like the liaison, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
By federal law, a franchise has to charge everybody the same. You can't charge one franchisee one number and charge another one
Very
another
interesting.
number.
That's
So,
good to know.
So by going through us, it doesn't cost you any more to use our services, but we can help you ask the right questions. We'll do an interview. We'll try to help you crystallize what you really want, out of your business.
Yes.
And one tough question that we will ask people is, sometimes somebody say, this is my hobby. This is what I like doing.
Right.
Okay. So then we say, okay, now you need to take some time, sit down and think, is that hobby going to still be fun for you if you do it every day, all day long?
And it's required.
And it's required, and that's your source of income.
Yes.
Because sometimes when they stop and think about it, they think, I could do this all day long, every day.
Right.
And whether I made money or not, I would still love doing it. That's one thing. But if they say, I wouldn't have a hobby then if I did that all the time.
Yeah.
Then they might want to look at a different type of business. So we'll generally sit down, talk to them. We'll try to get an idea of what their business that they're looking for. And
you're talking about startup businesses at this point.
Yeah, if we're doing a franchise.
Okay.
Help them select which franchise would be the best one for them to go with.
I love that. What's the initial investment normally?
Well, it really varies by franchise. It can be
What's the least expensive one that you can think of?
Well, okay, let me say this. There's franchises and there's license agreements.
Okay.
Okay. A license agreement can be very inexpensive. It can be under $10,000 to get started on a license agreement.
And there's loans and different types of things you can
that we
get.
can help with.
Sure.
We don't loan the money, but we can help people find
liaison.
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Okay.
So it can be very inexpensive, and then on the other hand, it can be really quite expensive. Some of the major franchises, and I won't use any names because we don't represent them, but they represent themselves. Some of the big ones that everybody recognizes can be over $1 million to start.
Wow.
Yeah. So
they almost would need investors at that point.
Well, it's generally at those larger ones. It's generally somebody that's already in business, already has run a business.
Sure.
They're not a new business starter.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there's a wide range from very inexpensive to extremely expensive.
Sure.
From very low business knowledge to extremely. You have to, in order to run some of those big ones, you have to really know what you're doing from day one.
And your consultation fees, I know that I'm sure that you base that around what their needs are. But as a Business Over Coffee member, if I were to come to you or any one of our members, would they receive their initial consultation free? How exactly does that work?
Yes. We don't charge. We have no hourly rates. We don't charge for our services. In the franchising, by an hour. We don't charge in the franchising world, for example. If somebody's starting a business and they select a franchise that we represent, and they go into this franchise, then we get a referral fee from the franchisor.
Okay.
So, and if it's a
That's
business,
good to know.
if it's a business that's selling their business, then it's similar to real estate from that perspective, in that they pay us a fee to sell their business.
Up front?
No, we only get
Only
paid.
if you sell.
Yeah, we only get paid if somebody walks out that door with a key to that store.
Now, is that the entirety of the business, or would that be possibly, if the inventory's already been sold, could it possibly just be the building that has value that you would sell?
Right, there is a possibility on that. We haven't done the buildings, the real estate side of it, until recently. I recently passed the real estate exam, and I'm becoming affiliated with the brokerage firm that will allow me to represent real estate also.
Excellent.
But, right, so that, because there are a lot of times, and it's really quite interesting, we get to talk to people that have real estate and a business, and one side of it's more valuable than the other.
Yes.
They kind of lose sight of the other side. For example, if you have a business that's not extremely, not a huge business, not a huge volume of revenue,
right,
but they have a building that they've had for 20 years that's in a location that's really grown, and now this building's worth a lot more than the business.
Sure.
Then one of the things we can do if versus just a straight commercial realtor is we will evaluate, okay, what's the value? If you sell the building, okay, then what are you gonna do with the business? Okay,
Right.
and some will say, well, we'll just close the doors and we'll shut it down. Okay, now you've lost the value of the business. So, we might say, okay, we'll look at both sides and we'll say, you would be better off trying to sell the business first. Okay,
Right.
because the chances are somebody buying that business, they're gonna need a place to keep it, and they're probably gonna wanna keep it here. So then we'll look at, okay, does it make sense for you to sell the business, keep the building, and lease it back to the new business owner? We have a steady income stream.
Sure.
Or sell the business and then try to sell the building to that person, or sell it as because a lot of commercial buildings are bought as investments.
Sure.
So if they've got somebody that's in that building already and is has been in there for a while and is generating a revenue stream where they can lease it to that person.
Right.
That's always, we can find building buyers, real estate buyers,
Awesome.
easier.
I have someone in mind for you, so
Yeah,
I'll get with you after the show.
And we do pay referral fees too, so.
Oh, wonderful. Hey, that's great. How much?
Depends on
Show me the
yeah,
money.
depends on but again, you only get the referral fee after we close.
After you close
Yeah.
the deal. I get it.
That-
I
that's
get
not
it.
fun.
Yes, absolutely. So I see you have cake here in front of you. Will you tell us about the Share event today and what you walked away with here at Business Over Coffee?
Okay. The
cake came from
and
that.
we don't want to forget the third thing I want to.
We'll come back to
okay,
that.
Okay, very good.
This is a segue.
Yeah, okay. The Share event today, there was, 5 speakers? I think there was 5
We
speakers.
had, yes,
Yeah, we
I
had 5
believe so,
speakers today.
yes.
2 of those speakers I'd heard before.
Yes.
So I was familiar with what they did.
Uh-huh.
There was a couple new nuances to it that I hadn't caught before, but there was 3 other ones that were really new to me, and it was real valuable to me. I learned a lot of information. I talked to one of them afterwards about how I could see that fit into some of the things that I do. And
Wonderful.
so it's a good learning experience. I've always had the philosophy to keep learning, keep growing.
Absolutely.
A long time ago, I heard somebody say something along the lines of, if you stop growing, you start dying. So I made it.
I like that.
Yeah, I made up my
That's-
mind. I've kept that all these years. For many years, I've kept that, and I thought, I'm going to live forever because I'm going to keep growing.
Yes, I love it.
And-
Let's go back to, and I appreciate you sharing that. I just wanted everyone to know that you didn't bring your lunch along for it.
Oh, okay.
The cake was a part of our travel and events share collaboration team. So I'm dying to have a piece. But anyway, bottom line is, before I get distracted, let's go to your third thing that you do, service that you provide through Transworld for Business Over Coffee members or just the average listener or viewer that's out there.
Right. So the third thing is, a lot of the business owners we talk to aren't ready to sell their business. They might be successful, or they might have even, one particular person that comes to mind, just recently started their business. But they might have either an idea that's somewhat unique, kind of new to the marketplace, or they might have a successful business model that has been done very well for them, and they want to grow it. But they don't necessarily want the hassle of having multiple company-owned stores where they have to manage all those stores.
Sure.
So they can become a franchisor, and that's our third area.
Yes.
We can help them develop into franchisors, because the group that we work with has been doing it for so long, has done so many of them, it's very cost effective relative to a lot of the other competition out there. So we're very competitive in pricing, but the big advantage that we have is that once this company that's been in business or is existing or just even starting up, once they become a franchisor, then we can sell their franchise. So it was just like a one-stop shop.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
So that works out
And
very well.
then you do, last but not least, you also have exit strategies that you work with
Right,
business
yeah,
owners
right.
on.
And that's not really a revenue stream for us. That's more of just a service because,
Sure.
you know, and it's interesting. In Share this morning, one of the presenters handed out a magazine.
Oh, I think they're calling us. Go on.
Okay, handed out a magazine, and one of the articles in was one of the business owners in Memphis area had talked about exit planning. I haven't got a chance to read the whole thing, but that's a no charge service that we do, and we're not going to get in there and develop your whole exit plan.
Right, right.
But what we would do is we'd sit down and say, these are the things that you need to be aware of. Where you want, for example, when we think about retirement, we don't wait until we turn 65 or 66 now to develop a retirement plan. We develop it when we're young.
Right,
if we're wise.
right, yes.
And in business, it's the same thing. I would recommend anybody starting a new business, before they even sign on the dotted line for loan, to already have a preliminary exit plan. Where they want to see their business be in 20
And
years
there's
from
no
now.
cost for that?
There's no cost for that. Again, we're not
Interesting.
doing all the legal things, we're not doing all the accounting things. But
Okay.
we just sit down and say, look, these are the things, when you sell your business, that the buyer's going to look at.
All right, well, we are wrapping up today. Thank you so much
Okay.
for your time, Richard Reed with Transworld Advisors. You can contact Richard by calling
901-683-1990, or you can email me at Richard Reed, that's spelled R-E-E-D, at tworld.com, and you can also go on our webpage and get all the same information at tworld.com/Memphis.
Outstanding. I encourage you to contact Richard Reed. This is Sherri Henley signing off today on BOCTV with Sherri. Find us online at businessovercoffee.biz. And by the way, you never know when the phone's going to ring or when music's going to play. We had some little background music there earlier as well. So thank you for joining us and bringing everyone together.